Yeah. So there's lots of people in our industry that are in the space of advising and brokering. What would you say the differentiator is with Legacy? Like, how are you different than all the other choices that are out there?
The easiest way to answer that is we're the only sell-side advisor in this space that has ex-agency owners and PE investors and finance experts. There's a lot of bankers and advisors in and out of the industry that have great financial acumen, that have the experience and really can generate really good financial outcomes for their clients. But none of them have the level of awareness, knowledge, and empathy that comes with that because of the fact that we have multiple partners who started, built an inorganic and organically agencies and then exited to different partners for different reasons. That experience is so valuable because when we're going through a process, we know what they're feeling. We know exactly what they're thinking, what questions they should be asking that they're not, and we can really guide them. And I think that creates tremendous trust and a feeling of support along the way. We're also there's a hard line for us. We don't do buy-side diligence. A lot of advisors in the space, that pays the bills, meaning a large buyer will hire bankers and advisors like us to do buy-side diligence on deals that they're trying to acquire to make sure that they're buying things at the right price. And that pays the bills, it generates a lot of income. We think it's a big conflict of interest. Yeah. One, it's much more fun to work with sellers and help family-run businesses and sometimes second, third, fourth generations, eke out a few million more dollars and find the right partner. Yeah. Two, it's just a conflict of interest. If you're getting paid by ABC agency in the afternoon to do a buy-side diligence, and then the next morning you're representing that seller to that buyer, are you really objective?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, for me, it's a differentiator. Like when agents come to me and they say, who should I go to for help? That fact that you've walked in the shoes, and there's multiple partners in Legacy that have walked that, they've taken that journey. It is different. Like you want someone who has actually been there, had to make those decisions themselves, have to weigh all those decisions, have to think through the process. It's a big differentiator. And I know for a lot of agents that gives them great comfort knowing that this is someone who understands, not thinks they understand, though they definitely understand.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. It's definitely a huge value differentiator. I would also say, though, that if it was only me, we would not be nearly as strong. Or if it was only one of my partners, like Max, who owned an agency and exited, we wouldn't be as strong. The other individuals we have on our team that have the private equity experience, the venture capital experience. Yeah. We've got two CPAs, one of whom did over 100 buy-side diligence deals for some of the largest acquirers in the country before they came to work for us. And what that helps with is, like, up front, we know exactly what the buyers are going to ask for and dig into in the diligence period, so we can get ahead of it up front and make sure that there's less pain and less bumps, and that the deal sticks to the LOI that they set forth. And that's a big piece. You don't want to have 11th hour changes, and that really creates friction that can be avoided up front. So the strength of the team, as you know, is much more than the individual, but having experience running an agency and selling an agency definitely creates a level of empathy and awareness that translates into a ton of trust.
No doubt. Yeah. So I know I shared what my client looks like. What does a typical seller look like for you?
As you know, better than almost anyone, maybe better than everyone, no agency looks the same. Yeah. From book of business makeup to leadership to goals to how they got there, the start of the business, the growth, and everything looks different. And every agency owner considering selling looks a lot different too. What we've tried to do is create three personas that we typically see over and over again of sellers. So really there's like three main personas. The first is the seller who's looking to accelerate growth. They're the producer that started the business because they were a really good producer. They hate HR, IT, admin, accounting, finance. They really love selling, but they've gotten the business to a point where they're hitting a ceiling, and they're doing so many things. They're wearing all the hats, and they want to go back to selling, and they want to accelerate their growth of sales. And in order to do so, they need more markets, they need better commission and contingents, they want more resources in terms of a parent organization, and they mainly want to just take off all the other hats that are non-sales generating marketing hats. And those seller clients exist. And we're able to help them, find the right partner that can help them accelerate their growth. The second persona is the one that we see most common, which is they're not ready to stop, but they want to de-risk. They know that they've built years, decades, sometimes generations. They've built this asset that has tremendous value, but it's illiquid. Yeah. And they want to be able to capitalize somewhat on what they know current multiple all-time highs and take chips off the table and create that security and that comfort and that assurance that their family's taken care of, that their team's taken care of, that their future's secure, but then also continue. They love goals, they love an earn-out concept, they want to continue to grow the asset. Maybe they love to grow within a larger organization and they want to be a leader within a bigger, and maybe they don't want to completely let go of equity, but they don't need to be a 50 or 100% equity owner of a few $1 million revenue business. They want to be a 1 or 2% owner of a $200 million business, and they can do that through a transition. And the third persona is someone who's looking to exit or just wants new challenges. We've helped people who want to be a race car drivers, who want to move on and spend more time with their kids, who absolutely love golf and they want to do more of it, right? Who are just tired. They've been in the business for a long time and they're just tired of doing insurance and they want to move on. They want to just capitalize and make sure that they shepherd the business the right way. And no one buyer is right for all of those personas. And so one big part, it's easy to bring buyers to the table. It's harder to identify all of the right buyers to be brought to the right table based on the seller. And that's a big part of our responsibility, is to bring to the seller a group of buyers that can help them based on what they're looking for and what they look like. Mm-hmm. And that's a big role that we have. That's why no seller looks the same, but you need to know how to bring the right buyer to that seller based on their goals.
And I think it's really important because that seller can't possibly know what each of those buyers is looking for, because even my knowledge of buyers in the market, it's changed over time. So getting someone like you all involved that can bring those buyers to the table and know what they're looking for and be able to help with that is huge. It'd be a full-time job doing the research, trying to figure that out on your own, for sure.
Yeah, and we don't know everyone in the world. We have 70 vetted buyers that we know are the most acquisitive buyers in the country, that are driving the multiples, that have a variety of different autonomous cultures. Some who are going to just say, hey, this is the way we do it. We're huge. We're the gorilla. Yeah. If you want top dollar, you want to come in, you got to do it the way we do it. And we probably won't keep everyone. Like, that's not what everyone wants, but some people are okay with that. Right. And then there's the ones that are earlier stage, and the equity appreciation can be significant, but there's risk associated with it. And they're the ones saying, hey, we're going to be the corporate M&A team and help you with some finance and HR and IT, but you're going to need to continue to grow the business as you know how to grow it.
Right.
And I would add to that there are, it's just as important to know what buyers don't want, to be able to remove them from a process. Because the last thing you want is to get a really nice, juicy offer from someone that it's just not going to be the right fit, or they're going to pull out after the fact because they realize something about the business that they didn't know. So, some buyers, all they want is commercial. All they want is EB. All they want is health. Others, they are cool with personal. They really will pay for it. They want growth-minded, personal agencies. Some only want East Coast. Others want West Coast. Others are okay. It depends on the regional platforms that they have. Some are in their inning one. They're $50 million in revenue. They want to be, $5 billion, and that's a really cool opportunity for some sellers, and that's really scary for others. Some are already $5 billion, and they already have their infrastructure. They really have, strong equity, but it's not going to appreciate as much. And so finding the right buyer based on the book of business that they're looking for, and the location, proximity, the type of leadership, and the level of autonomy that the seller wants is really, really important.
Yeah. So do you find that many sellers change their persona as they go through, like as they weigh their options? Do any actually waver between personas?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say the persona 2 and persona 3 there's some back and forth sometimes. So if you find someone who's, in that next 5 years they were looking to retire, they might come into the process saying that they want to retire tomorrow, and they realize they should probably hold on for 3 to 5 years. And others who say, I really need to be out of here in 5 years. And then they realize if I sell, maybe I only stay on a year.
Yeah.
And I'm really good with this because the proceeds I'm going to get and potential equity and earnouts, like that's more than I expected.
Yeah.
And then like for me, when I sold, I wanted to preserve the opportunity. I liked optionality. I said to myself, if I want the opportunity to stay through an earnout and equity appreciation. And if I love life and I want to continue doing this, I want the opportunity to continue to do this.
Yeah.
But I also want the opportunity to have enough resources and security to say, I want to move on to something new, with new challenges, with new people, new meaning and fulfillment. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of sellers want. They want the options.
Sure.
And so, you see that persona go back and forth. So I'm an agency owner, and I wish I had known you and hired you when I was an agency owner. We would have made a lot less mistakes. I hire you, I engage with agency focus, Carey, let's start working together. What are some of the first, most important operational changes that you tend to see them make as a result of working with you?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, understanding their numbers, like going through that process and seeing and putting all of the discretionary expenses together in one piece to say, how much am I spending inside my agency and how could I maybe deploy my resources differently? So the level of awareness of what's happening inside the agency, sometimes we're doing things that we've always done and not paid attention to it. So by us going through and creating a budget and being intentional about what happens could cause people to rethink the technology they've invested in that they've gotten no ROI out of or was never fully deployed inside their agency. Maybe some of the marketing strategies are killing it and we need to double down on it. Some are, we've done it this way forever and ever and we have no idea how we're measuring it. So we might put things in place in order to measure to see if we're getting an ROI. But I think it's a level of awareness of where are our resources going? How do we compare to other agencies this size and other agencies this size that are tech forward, that are in the same line as us, if they are personal lines heavy, commercial lines heavy, whatever that is. What is the benchmark? How do we compare? And what is the art of the possible? So the biggest thing is, number one, let's figure out where you are. And that could mean many different things. I've never worked with an agency that we don't look at their staffing. It's just, there's no way not to, right? And what the comp structure is, whether or not it's transferable. If you're looking to sell externally and your comp structure is completely not standard with what's in the industry, it can be a huge hurdle. So figuring out that is almost every single one of our agencies have some comp structure that needs to be considered before they move to the next step if they're selling, right?
Even if they aren't,
yeah.
Right? That's probably, I would imagine, probably one of the greatest variances from agency to agency is like, well, how they pay their producers, how they pay their staff, depending on the roles they have.
Sure.
How do you navigate that, given that, let's say someone's not selling right away, they just want to have a better idea of how their baseline of the business and allocate resources and continue to grow.
Sure.
How do you navigate making recommendations to changes that should happen for the health of the business,
sure,
while managing sort of and balancing out the fact that the employees have come to know that as the reality for them? Yeah,
so it depends on what that situation is. Like, it could be just a producer and their comp structure is atypical. I typically will put a schedule together to say, this is what it typically would look like. This is what yours looks like. Here's the variances, and here's some ways we could meet in the middle. We could do it over the next 3 years to figure out how to get closer to what the industry standard would be. And you're right, if someone's not looking to sell, they might not be as motivated. So you've got to point out, what is this keeping you from doing? Is it keeping you from having profit that you could invest in a different way in the agency? Many times people will say, I don't know that we can afford to hire another producer, but yet I want to grow. Well, you have to find the thing that they're trying to do and what this is preventing them from being able to do in order to create the situation that they want to change it. If it's serving them well and it's someone that's going to retire, maybe we leave it alone. But if it's not serving them well and it's preventing forward progress that would not maximize the value of their agency, there's lots of ways to rectify it. You could put a deferred comp plan in place. You could put a pathway to ownership in place. You could put there's lots of different ways to reward these key employees but not have a comp structure pull you back. So, and then, it's not just producers. You have some agencies that still have blended roles where people are doing service and production and they're being compensated one way or the other, but it's not serving the agency and you're not getting the production or the efficiency out of these people. Really getting clear on what's the role of the person, I think that's one of the trigger points that keeps agencies from growing if they have combined roles. So that is also an area where we spend a lot of time and energy on, and that might be assess your staff. What are they actually wired to do, and what are you trying to get them to do? And let's get your team squared away the way that they should be.
Yeah, that's so important and so well said. There are so many agencies still, probably a majority, where they don't have that classic outside producer hat where it's just this person goes and hunts for business, they sell, and that's it, right? There's so many that have that dual role, and then it's so hard to determine where is the accountability. Like, at 4:30 p.m. on a Friday, someone gets a claims call, a mortgage request, a new business request. What's most important? Like, if I have to do all of it, like, how do I prioritize that? So I know that's a question that I had gotten over the years when we were consulting, and you give your recommendation the best you can, but from the seat that you're in, you can actually say, I've evaluated hundreds of agencies, I've seen it all, and we have gathered all the data, and we have really good benchmarks, and we can offer that type of guidance with assurance.
Yeah, it's funny. Some of the benchmarking data drives a lot of decisions, because I can say it, you can say it, whatever, but when you look at it and you're like, okay, this is 3,000 agencies, the accumulation of the data, and you can see growth is thwarted at this point because of these decisions. It gives a level of validity to the advice that you're giving, which is kind of cool. So, and the reality is there is not one way to run a successful agency, but there are trends and there are ways to make yourself more likely to be as successful. So, that to me is so rewarding to be able to share that with someone and give them confidence, like, hey, this is the right path forward for me.
Yeah, no, that's well said. The producer buy down piece is a really big one, because like if someone sells externally, and they don't make that change, they're offering the future owner the opportunity to make that change whenever they want.
That's right.
And they might not for a long time, or they might immediately make a change to a comp structure. And if your producers are going to see that comp structure change anyways, you have an opportunity before you sell to help them benefit from that change up front with either a producer buy down or, as you said, deferred, whatever you do. So
I think it's such a crime not knowing and then going through a transition and not reaping the benefit of something that could be really impactful in your sale. That there's something to being able to uncover that, and I know they're hard decisions and I know they're tough things to do, but it's even tougher to watch somebody else make the change and reap the benefit of it. Like that is not a good day.